Let's go over some stuff here for the midweek watch list. Haven't done a video in a while, so I need to get back at that. Before I do so, come over to ztrades.net, check out our terms and conditions page. If you agree to everything as well as the disclaimer, continue watching this video. If you do not agree to it, do not watch the video and don't join the Discord. That's completely free right here. Let's jump into it. Now, I just want to talk about SPY here. I have no, I'm not leaning towards any direction because we have CPI and that would be gambling. I can see where we could go versus which way we go. If it's bad, if it's good, where we could go. I have Bitcoin up here. I really just want to cover Solana, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and SPY, and the 10-year. So that's what I'm going to do. It's going to be very simple. I don't have any small caps I'm looking at yet. There are some stuff I want to dive into that I'll be looking at after CPI. Excuse me, guys. It's 6:21 a.m. I just woke up. I like to get things done early. So there, it speaks for itself right here on Bitcoin. Let's turn the linear chart off. I'd like us to close a hammer. What would be really good is if this body would turn up and close up there, right? That would just be a perfect hammer. Or if we could just close right here. I don't like the wick on top. You don't want a wick if you want it to be a hammer. But it could be kind of like this inverted hammer here that has a little bit of a wick on it with a nice pop. I need us to stay right there, a little bit higher, like right there, 95. Right? I want us to be above, close above that last body right there. So we'll see if that can happen. And if we do, I expect us to plunge out of there. Everybody's looking at it on a freaking 1 hour chart, you know, instead of a weekly. Let's take a look at a daily. Daily looks fine as of now. It's totally fine. It's just in a range that is consolidating. What really grabbed my interest here, I'm using the wrong word, when we sucked down, what was it, 2 days ago, to 89, it yanked back up so fast. There are buyers there, and they are heavy. So let's take a look at Ethereum. I'm going to move over to SPY after this. Okay, we have Ethereum here on the daily, right? Then we have it on the weekly. Weekly doesn't look bad, right? This looks fantastic. And then within this, we have this. We have an inverted head and shoulders, right? Let's go ahead and highlight that. But there's something else bigger that I want to show you guys. If I turn the linear chart on. You could just say this whole area is the left shoulder. Either of these, this or this. And I'd like to see this push. So we'll see if that happens. IHS. Linear. I like that. I really like that. This is amazing over here. Can you guys believe I had it over here? This is where I jumped back in after the last halving cycle of 2017 and 2018. 2017, I had that right over here. I had Coinbase on auto buy, and it was buying it. And I had totally forgotten. It was loading. Got to a point where I was loading in Ethereum every, it was on weekly buy at $50. So every 2 weeks I was buying in Ethereum. Whenever I opened my Coinbase to check, to start getting back in crypto, you know, it was up here, and I was like, what is going on? But anyways, this looks fantastic here. Ethereum still looks totally fine. It's lagging. So I would, if it were me, I wouldn't be touching any Bitcoin. I'd be touching Ethereum, and that's about it. Ethereum looks great. Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash looks fantastic right here, especially on a linear chart. Looks totally fine to me, and it looks like it's consolidating and it's ready to go. We could see that high over here again. I easily see us going to 8, you know, even above 1,000. Last one before I move on from crypto. Solana over here. So I don't like this giant drop. That kind of ruins everything. And I don't like that this came back up and it respected the 20 EMA and rejected. I don't like that. This could plummet. This is what I am afraid of. If this does happen, I know we're at a bottom and I'd buy. We could come down to this gap fill and all the way down here to anchored VWAP with this volume shelf. I think that would be the max low. Let's move on to SPY. Right? Okay. Now we had, let's get rid of these. Let's get rid of that. We came back up 2 weeks ago, hit the 20 EMA, sucked up, then formed a hammer right on this trend line, right? Popped up. This is when Rob was in all those calls, if you guys remember from the in the Discord, right? He made his money back, and that's when we ended up diving right after that. Respected the 20, held the trend line, shot up, gave it all up. Now we're cracking it, and we're going in. There is no giant volume shelf sticking out here for us to hold. Really, I could pull the fibs up. And we have this giant trend line right here. I don't think that would happen anytime soon, but doesn't mean it can't happen. You know, right where anchored VWAP is and all that, that's right near this trend line up here, which would be at 500 if this ever got there. I don't think that's happening anytime soon, but let's zoom in closer so we can see what's going on here. I wouldn't even call this bullish divergence. I wouldn't even call this divergence anymore. I guess it's somewhat holding. Somewhat. Yeah, I would. I would call it that, actually. Right? See, we're going down. RSI is holding. So, which is why we bounced. We filled the gap. The election gap that I've been firing off like a parrot over and over. Right here. The Trump gap. We filled it. We had this little volume gap here. We have anchored VWAP and a volume shelf. Heavy support there. And if it happened to go that low here, this resistance, 565, right over in here, that was just such a clean run up from August. Such a clean run up. This was just a great time to be in the market. These run ups with these drops, this was hard right here, but these run ups, being long on stuff was just fantastic. Being long on stuff right here, but that was the dead giveaway that we're done right there. I was expecting us to hit. I'm rambling a bit here. Let me actually have more coffee. I was expecting us to hit anchor VWAP, and we didn't. We sucked up out of that. So far, this is a bullish candle formation, what we have right here, and I see us coming up to, if it so happens, 590. Ooh, look at those about to cross. 590 is where I see us going. If we're bull. If we're bear, I expect us to eventually hit anchored VWAP. If the CPI comes in hot, on top of the Biden admin limiting chips going to China, which affects NVIDIA. NVIDIA affects the S&P since it's in the top 5 holding. Then I expect us to just continue to get clapped. Trump has backed off on the tariffs, not being so aggressive up front with it because he doesn't want the market to get hit. Let's see what he has in store if he can push Powell. At the end of the day, guys, you want the dollar down. You do not want it up. Oh no, the dollar's going to collapse. It's going to drop. Good. I can make bread in that. We have the dollar high and inflation's still here. You want to know what affects spending? And I say this in every video, or affects inflation. It's government spending. The government are the ones that cause inflation. It's not the people. What follows that? Then the corporations piggytail. They ride the coattails, and they're like, "Oh yeah, inflation for us. Our prices went up 5%, so we're going to raise them 10%." you know? So, yeah, I'd like to see government spending get cut, which is going to happen. Elon and Vivek had shown examples of how they can cut $2 trillion. That's going to help. And getting energy down. Plastic, energy affects plastic. Fertilizer, which affects food, which affects, and then energy affects transportation. If we can cut that cost in half, that would be really good. Really, really, really good for CPI will come in cooler. Powell is only going to be in for another term. He's going to be out after that. We're going to throw someone else in. You know, if the new administration really does cut our taxes in half, right? They're coming out with the ERS instead of the IRS. IRS attacks. So yeah, some people deserve it, and they're doing things that they shouldn't, that are illegal. But at the end of the day, it hinders business and doesn't make things very efficient. So we're doing an external, I can't remember the abbreviation, internal, whatever. But they're going to be going after other countries instead of the American people. That's fantastic. But here's the scary thing. If they get our taxes in half, let's say they just, do a national sales tax, that's it. So everybody has to pay their fair share. Then that would be inflationary but at the same time, we can't just tax everybody to death due to inflation, right? That's not the answer. But it would be inflationary. Everyone would have a lot more money to spend. So, double-edged sword. Is it better for the country? Absolutely is. It'll increase jobs and wages. But that's inflationary. So I think that inflation could come roaring back. It depends on how low they get energy in these next 6 months. But as of now, my predictions for CPI, estimate's 2.9. My estimate is 2.9. UBS is predicting 3. Bank of America, everybody else, JPM, they're all predicting 2.9. I think it's going to come in at 2.9. If it does come in line, I think that just nothing's going to happen. We might drop a little bit. We would need it to come in cool, 2827, in order for us to go. Oh, sorry, guys. I just woke up again. I have a strangle on UVXY, so we'll see how that plays out. And so that's my crypto watch list, and that's my watch list on SPY. I've got nothing. It's a coin toss. Heads or tails? Which way you going for CPI? As of now, the TA on SPY is bullish. It is bullish right there. That's a bullish setup. So doesn't mean anything. Again, we have to see how CPI turns out, and this would be the ultimate support, in my opinion, around 565, which we weren't that far away. We were $10 away. Could have had 2 $5 drops from here, and we'd be there. Orange Man gets in about 5-6 days. So we'll see what happens then. If you guys like this content, make sure to like and follow for more. My other watch lists are going to be a bit more informative because we'll have CPI out of the way.